My name's Nikki and this is Mark. We're from Canine Crew and we work alongside Gary and Michelle from DogsnHomes. And today we're here to help Misha and Sandy just understand a little bit more about their dog. Misha just explained that she's had a few problems with recall. So we're going to do a bit of a recall 101 kind of rundown on how you can establish a deeper relationship so that you can recall your dog, and what you can practice before you come to the big wide world and a dog's highest reward environment. A few training techniques that you can practice just before you let them off. So, and it's really important. Recall is the most important part of training when it comes to a dog. If you have recall, you've got your dog. So yeah, we'll run through a few training techniques, and we'll just briefly speak about the different types of drives that dogs have as well.
Okay, so her name is Sandy, and she has some problems with recall when there's other dogs and when she's like chasing other animals like in woods or stuff. Yeah. Sandy, come here.
Does she listen to you or not really? She doesn't really pay attention. If there's something going on in the outside, does she tend to not listen to you very well?
If she sees other dogs or like some animals like squirrels, she tends to like run off after them. She will not come back when we call her.
Okay.
A dog that has quite a high prey drive, chasing, hunting, running, in other words, and she's a high energy girl and quite fast, as some of you all know. I've been watching some of the videos that Richard does with the drone. The relevance in the outside world, so that smell over there or that chase there is far more important than who the handler is, because we are quite boring in a dog's world a lot of the time. So it's to make ourselves more interesting than the outside world, and that any reward coming from the world, such as being taken off leash or going for a run, going out the front door even, that reward comes from the handler, comes from us. So the source of all those rewards, the dog has to learn that the source of going for an off-leash walk comes from me, from the handler. Once the dog's got that, then you won't have any problems, because then, you will. But then the dog at least understands that fundamentally I'm the one providing that, so then they will be checking in and looking at me for guidance, for leadership, in other words. So one quick exercise just to help build that is something that it just builds permissiveness, it builds leadership, and it builds a bond, but it's just simply rewarding eye contact. It's called a variety of different things. We've come across the term art of attention, which is it's a great term, because it is a skill, it's a learned skill, but it also is a bit of an art when you truly understand it. A lot of dogs, if you show them a reward, and now all she wants is a reward. She's gonna try everything she can to get that, what she's used to doing it. So a little bit of a jump, and all I'm gonna do is mark it when she gives me eye contact. A dog like her now, she's quite fixated and focused, which is good. Yes, good girl. So, but as soon as she looks, I marked it with a yes. I wasn't too loud because of the mic, but the more excited you make it, the better it is. And that yes becomes a positive verbal marker. So when you use that word yes, the dog immediately is going to be looking at you and coming towards you to get the reward. And if you link it together, you can see any behavior. Sandy, sit. As she sits, yes. And then there's the positive marker. So they associate that sound of yes, of being, I need to come get my reward from the person doing that work, from the handler. So it's positive, it's full of energy, excitement, enthusiasm. So the dog really can get quite excited about it, which is great because they're coming towards you. So that's the trick of this exercise, is that you bring the dog towards you. And the more patient you are, and the slower that you do it, yes, good girl, the quicker they'll get it. If you're very consistent with that exercise, they'll get that very, very quickly. They'll start looking at you for all sorts. And then you can start challenging them using that particular activity in a variety of places. So give some examples, Nick.
So you can do this with toys, you can do this with food, but basically when you're training a dog and you are using food as a reward, you don't want the dog just to come to you because you have food. So the reason why it's called the art of attention is you have food, you have a toy, you have your hands for affection, but the dog needs to look at you to see where that comes from. So I could be holding any type of reward in a dog's mind, treat, food, toy, etc., etc. And if they are solely fixated on that, anyone can be holding that. So I'm completely irrelevant in that dog's world, which is not what we want. We want that dog to look at that, say, yes, I want that, but where's it coming from? Oh, you, okay, what do you want me to do? So that's what you start marking, and that's where you bring in the yes command, and a yes makes the dog feel good, you make the dog feel good, and they get a reward, which is all good stuff, and that's what we want to do. So by holding out the dog's dinner, for argument's sake, breakfast, in the bowl, hold it out, and then just wait. Ask for a sit, polite wait. As soon as they look at you, put the bowl down, okay or yes, for that release. If you have a toy and one of their favourite toys, play with it for a little bit and then ask for the art of attention. You don't want to go and pick up a toy out their toy box and immediately stand there and the dog hasn't smelt that toy for a little while or doesn't know that you've really got it. So you want to get them on it first a little bit, then you take it off them, you hold the toy out, you can move it around as well, so you're up in the game a little bit. As you're moving it around, you don't want the dog fixated with eye contact on that toy. You want the dog to look at you, then you do exactly the same. You give the yes command and you allow them to have it.
Does it make sense, Misha? I will ask you, since you spoke to us in the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah? I'm just going to do a couple over here, just to, and you can verbally ask for it, but there's more power in not asking for it.
You can help them. So if your dog is really fixated on your hand, you don't necessarily want to bring it too close to your face, because that's just the dog, again, following the food. You don't want them to follow the food. You want them to look at you.
So I've got it in my right hand, so she knows it's there now. You can see her focusing and moving forward, which is, yeah, that's all right. But I just want to get her, I'm going to challenge her, but this is going to make it hard because I'm leaving my hand right there in front of her. So because she's going to try looking around at some noises. Now if you are stuck with your dog doing this, I mean, just stepping this way will change the whole scenario. So just a slight movement can reset them in a way. I'm going to stop there because it'll take a little bit too long for her.
Good girl. Wrong person.
Yeah, yeah, I've got the treat. So you could.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. And the more energetic and enthusiastic you make it, someone spilled some treats on the floor there, so that's what she's like. I'll go for the easier option, because she has to think for this one. A lot of people do also hold the treat here, which you can start off training a dog to do the eye contact that way, but it's not recommended because take the treat out there. Do they stay on your eye or do they follow the treat? That's the test. Most of the time they're following the treat because they haven't been taught to look. Yes, good girl. So you could go louder. You could go more energetic on the yes, just to really make it a hugely positive. And then, as you saw, I just broke what she's doing and just moved a little bit back because that's just starting the process of her coming towards, which is what ultimately what you with recall at least ultimately what you want is a dog is always coming towards you and not even necessarily on a cue just because they want to come towards you. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's right. Yeah. So that's eye contact, just building it. Ask any questions you guys would like. Hit us up in the comments. We'll try and answer the best we can in a written format. But that's it's a foundational exercise you can use absolutely anywhere, like Nick said, with food, with toys, with play, with walks, even with affection, before inviting up on the sofa. At every point where the dog could either choose to do it on their own or not, you could just practice waiting a little bit and then boom, they're looking at you, then yes, come join.
So with just one common mistake that people make when they lose the recall with their dog, they say it's perfect in the garden, in the house and so on, but outside most dogs just blow their owners off. And one of the ways that has been created is through the owners going to a nice environment, so like up here, they think it's safe, and it is, it's very safe around here. They let their dog off because that's what we want to see. That's where we get our joy from. So they let their dog off, they let their dog go and run. And that's literally from coming into the car park or wherever you've got out the car or wherever you've entered a field, through a gate or anything like that. They bend down, unclip the leash, dog goes off.
The dog's in a high, like an aroused state of excitement, which is not always, I mean, if your dog is calm, you take a leash off, or the dog's excited, you'll see a completely different behavior from the same dog. The calm one, the dog will just sort of hang around, sniff, maybe look around. Oh, yeah. High level of excitement. Yeah, you pretty much know what's going to happen when the dog and just runs.
So one of the best things that you can do is walk through that gate at the field or the park or the woods, wherever you are, and keep it on leash. Do some recall straight away so you get the dog on you before it gets too highly aroused in the environment and overstimulated. A dog that's overstimulated will not come back to recall. So ideally what you want to do is, we've just come in the gate now, and all I'm going to do is, Sandy and I haven't got a relationship yet, but this is part of building a deeper relationship with your dog. So that's fine that we don't have a relationship.
Yeah,
I do have...
Just quick, sorry Nick, interrupt there. There is a common misperception out there,
Sandy,
with quick fixes and quick trainings. Training happens in every single moment that we engage with our dog. Every single moment. They're reading patterns and how we're feeling in ways that we can't actually quite comprehend. So every moment that we have with the dog, we consider. As soon as we have our hands on the leash, I consider I'm having a training moment with that dog. I'm maybe not training a specific behavior, but with Sandy, for example, when I got her, first time I've had her on leash before, literally all I'm feeding her is like, I don't want her pulling, just calm as much as she can without asking too much, just to be around. So there's no quick fix. It is consistency over time, repeating different protocols and having fun. That's the biggest thing. The more fun you inject into actual training, the more the dog benefits and the more we benefit, obviously.
Wait.
Okay.
So one thing you can do is when you come into the park or the woods, wherever your environment is that you want to let your dog off, is don't let your dog off immediately. Even people that do believe that their dog does have a good recall, it probably does, but when there's a high reward, so a deer running, a squirrel, another dog, other people, whatever it might be, you don't want them to be rewarding themselves until you release them to go and be a free dog, for want of a better phrase. So one thing you can do is you come into the park and you just do a little bit of what we call leader follower, and it is just what it says. So you just say, Sandy, let's go. Good girl. Let's go. Good girl. Let's go. So here, she isn't really paying too much attention to me. She's just sniffing, but that's fine because we don't have a relationship. But you'll see, if you just keep practicing, Sandy, good girl. If you just keep practicing a little bit of leader follower, your dog is going to be the brain, the important part of recall. You want the brain on you. Good girl, come. Good girl. And then when she's going out, that's fine for her to go out and go and investigate. She just gets to the, say this is the end of the leash, and then all I'm going to do is put a little bit of pressure. I'm going to keep it still, and then when she gives me some eye contact, I'm just going to do the yes command because she's checked in with me. There's a few distractions around. So when she looks at me, I'll give her the yes command, which what we've been working on with the art of attention. And then that reinforces that she needs to come right back right here. So recall is come in and then you wait for your next command. And that can be go be free, that could be sit, could be anything you want it to be. But you don't want her to come in either halfway and then get distracted. You don't want her to come in and then go running straight off again. Sandy, come, good girl. So again, I'll just let her go out. Little bit of leash pressure. Yes! And then I move backwards because I want her all the way in. Good. And then she can have a reward. Again, with treating your dog, you don't want to keep giving them treats every single time. So them just sniffing a treat is a reward as well. So you can give one and then miss 3. So it's just a sniff, or affection. So good girl. That's more than enough for a dog as well. Yes, so the other thing that you can do is the leader follower, and then build up. So if there's distractions, if there's dogs coming around or people coming around, you can walk over to that distraction with a long line and let her go and investigate. And Sue, so I'll let her go and investigate.
I'm a distraction.
Yes, I'll let her go and investigate, and then all
the recall is dogs out there. You want their name. So if you say the dog's name and they don't always check in, you can even work on that. That just a name means look. So that's pretty easy to build. I'm just going to wait for it to be a little bit. This is obviously quite low level distraction right now, just for the sake of showing it. Sandy, come. Yes, good girl. So no leash pressure needed there. And you see now I'm giving her the reward, but not all of it. If she doesn't bite my finger off, if she does, she can have it then. So literally quite a firm, because she doesn't know me, quite firm. Yes, as she turns and looks, that's when you want to mark it with the yes. That's the positive marker. And then just help her, because look, she'll just follow me now coming, because I've got the leash and I've got the reward. So you want, that's the behavior you want to mark. If she doesn't, you could grab smoocher and try quite a difficult one. So let's just try. She knows I've got this now. Hang on. Show that you got that. So just to set up distraction now, Nikki has got the treat. So if I go, oh, Sandy, come. Yes. Okay, she came there, so that's brilliant. Perfect. So show her the treat again. I'm trying to set it up so she doesn't come back in a short distance, just so we can get it on camera. Yeah. I'm going to say it quite softly now. That's perfect. Sandy, come. So she doesn't. What you don't want to do is shout it again. You want a little bit of leash pressure. There's a very little bit of leash pressure there. And then bring her in. I want to try that again.
We have a habit of, our dog doesn't listen the first time, so we say, Sandy, come, Sandy, come. Sandy, come, and then our energy changes in our voice. Then with the frustration comes through in our voice and in our energy. So when we start screaming at the top of our voices, what energy, what person, what dog is going to want to come towards that? That's what you must remember. You want to make it inviting for the dog to come into. So by over repeating and getting frustrated, getting angry, your dog's not listening to you and so on and so forth, it's better just to remain as calm as possible. Don't say any more because your dog didn't come. Go over to the dog. That's where you have to go and collect the dog if they don't listen, if they're not on a long line.
They'll learn when you say come, you don't always mean it.
Yeah.
And if you are a person who gets frustrated over the recall, then the dog will stay away from that particular feeling because it doesn't feel nice. And it's obviously it's repetitions, because then it becomes muscle memory. So when it goes, whatever's happening like this, okay, this might work quite well.
If you
move him a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, yeah.
So we've just got Smoocher in the back with Michelle as a distraction.
Sandy, come. So nothing happening there. A little bit of leash pressure just to help her. Yes! You see, as she yielded and as she came around, I hope you saw that. As she came around, the pressure of the leash came off, and then I marked that behavior. Because what the behavior you want to mark is they're coming towards you. That's all you want to mark in the initial stages of recall training. And so this is setting the dog up to win. I would never put, we personally would never put a dog in a position where they will make the wrong decision in the early days of training. Because as soon as they make a wrong decision and they've broken the recall once, because they've done that behavior, they've practiced that behavior, they could repeat it in a similar situation. So it's important. So even if there is quite a big distraction for her there, it's a great buddy. As you can see, awesomely playful. That's all she wants to do. But that dog is being worked at the moment. It's a reactive dog. I can't allow my dog to go over to say hello to that dog because it's not a strange dog, but I'm giving an example. That could be a strange dog. It's aggressive, for example, or the owner may just not want other dogs coming up because that dog's on leash. So until she can recall 100%, I wouldn't let her off leash in this environment with that dog around, as an example, right? But if she's, just let her out a bit more. Sandy, come. Yes. See, so I helped a little bit. She looked around at me, marked it, and it just helped by moving away. Body language speaks way more for dogs than words.
And this is where you can build it up as well. So there might be a distraction just there, but what you want to do is start short. So you let her go on a shorter long line towards the distraction, but again, you want to set her up to win. So you don't want to take her too close where the scent is too high and the excitement is too high. You want to get there slowly. But Sandy's biggest thing that she wants to run towards is other dogs. She's a very friendly, very playful girl. So dogs are a big go-to if she can get to them. Excuse me. So when you're working on the recall, you do it at a short distance and then gradually build it up so you get closer, closer, closer. But ultimately, every time the dog comes to you, that's because they feel safe, they get a reward, and you make them feel nice and calm. And then eventually they get what they want to get. So you can then choose, if you wish to go over to that dog or go over to another dog and let her have that playtime. So that is your choice, and that's where everything has to come from you. It's not on the dog's terms. You're still giving the dog everything it wants, but in a managed manner, which is important. So we hope that helps. That's just a few pointers, but there's so much more that we could go into, but we don't have the time to do that.
And just quickly with Sandy, I mean, we have met her before, but not handled her. But just looking at her level of play, prey, and engagement, how much she's willing to engage, I would, and I'll speak to the owner after this, Richard, because she's clearly he'll know, the family will know, she's a bright girl, so picks up patterns quickly. I would certainly take advantage of that and just ask more from her, just because of the brain she's got. And it's not a lot of asks. Sometimes just instead of allowing a dog free from a behavior, like in a sit, it's just for her to learn to wait 5 seconds. So just that waiting is awesome because it makes the brain more engaged with you, and yeah, it's working. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Luck with dog training, and have fun. And if you're not having fun, you're not having fun, and your dog's not learning. They learn much better when they're in positive.
Yeah,
engaged.
enjoy, and
Absolutely.
every minute with a dog is a training moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy.